Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today?
Hello, good.
Hi, doing well.
I have to let you know that I will not be here next weekend. I am speaking at a conference, and one of my staff members will cover for me. So I'm trying to fight a cold, but next weekend I am speaking at the Black Business Conference. I am terrified, excited, all the above. What's the term cognitive dissonance? What does that mean?
Have two different kind of emotions or feelings that like contradicted each other.
No, they won't line up. They won't line up. Absolutely. So most people come to therapy for for cognitive dissonance when I have a thought and a belief that just don't make any sense. I've always believed this, and now something else has happened. So I'm having difficulties. So that's the reason people come to therapy. Most often our behavior changes to match with the new belief. So I was telling earlier today, I've been in this field for 30 plus years as a clinician, as a social worker, as a teacher. I've never labeled myself as a business person. And to be picked to speak at this conference is kind of like, oh, I guess I am a business person. So that is kind of that's a new hat for me. So that is yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to mingle and really continue to grow our business. And I'm speaking on imposter syndrome. So that's
And
something
you're a
that I'm
great
excited
speaker,
about.
Dr. Pam.
Thank you. I do a lot of public speaking, but this is the first time at a business conference. So for me, that's like I've got to wear like a different hat. Like I just have never I don't see myself as a business person. I see myself walking out God's plan that happened to work out really well. But I'm a clinician, so we'll see. Well, it'll go fine. It'll go fine, but definitely some cognitive dissonance. So one of my other staff members will be here. Remember, everybody that is on my staff was trained by me. Okay. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's ask me questions first of all. Just ask me questions in general, things you've seen places, things you've seen somewhere, if it's on Facebook or Pocket Prep or one of the other programs, it's got to be true, right?
So I have a question not related to like
Uh-huh.
social work. It's um I had a job interview that I did not apply for that job. I don't know how, like someone probably passed my application, but it's very far. That's why I didn't apply to it. So I decided to go to the interview just for practice. So I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
I
Um,
think you can't get enough practice interviewing.
so is that a good idea if I drive
Did you
45
like
minutes?
Google the place to make sure it's like a real place and all the good
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
and your background work?
Mhm. It's a
Yeah,
school, yes, yeah.
yeah, I most
Um,
definitely would go.
so I just did not apply because the commute is so far. So I'm like, no,
Hmm.
no way, no way I'll go and work there.
How
But
far is it?
um it's about like 15 minutes drive, but that's not during like traffic. So probably during rush hour and traffic will be like an hour.
Is that you live in a big city? Is that unheard of?
Yeah, I've never heard of that city actually.
I mean, no, is people don't do that? Drive an hour to work each day?
Um, People who make like big money, they will do that, but not like a social work salary. No, that's not worth it.
I mean, I've done that for the last 10 years. So the college that I teach with has I've moved to a different location, but it's 50 minutes from my house. And I don't love to drive. I've made use of my time. I do a lot of audiobooks and listening. But for me, that's not that abnormal.
Mhm.
So anybody else, guys? People that drive more than an hour to work?
I drive 50 minutes coming and then 50 back. Um, but you have to get in where you can fit in when you're trying to get with the VA. And I took when it was offered, I took it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
VA jobs are like very like attractive jobs that people want to work with the VA. That's why, yeah.
So are school social worker jobs.
But there's like so many schools around me. Like, why would I drive that far? That's the
Well, because none of them offer nothing. So
because they don't have anything.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't rule it off the table. I don't like driving. I've never liked driving. I would love to live in a city with public transportation. I just don't. But you know, and especially when I became an adjunct and I wanted to just learn to get an adjunct, I taught any place that I could get to, I would go and teach. And I hate to drive. I absolutely hate to drive.
Yeah, now gas so expensive too. So
I don't know. I trust my higher power.
yeah.
I trust that things happen for a reason. And I will also say, when I interview and I don't get the job, I always call back and ask what the other person had that I didn't have. I always do, because I want to know what I need to do differently next time, or what did they bring to the table. I remember one job I really thought I had, and it was down to the top two, and I thought, wow, we're both good. And I called back, and this was many years ago, but she had grant writing experience that I
Oh,
didn't have, so I fixed that. So, but definitely, just I want to know what makes this person better, or not necessarily better, the skills that they brought that I didn't have. So I want to grow from every time I have an interview. Okie dokie.
okay.
Jocelyn, have we met?
No, but I'm excited to meet you. I
I'm
watched you
excited to meet
through
you.
YouTube, and
Very
you
cool.
were recommended by a friend who was an LPC. So,
Well, very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Are you a first-time test taker?
actually, this will be my third time.
Okay. And MS or LC?
LC.
Okay. And what's your study material?
Right now, I'm doing the private sessions through you, with Genevieve.
What before, though?
Oh, what did I use before? Actually,
Mhm.
the same study material that you're using, the AppGar. I think it was just my style of learning, and what's different now is, well, what Genevieve was showing me is almost like ruling out the answers. I wasn't doing that. It was just kind of going for the
Yeah.
one that I thought was right.
Very cool. Genevieve is one of our like she's been about 3 or 4 months now. And definitely that's what we teach is it's a reading test. It's a reading test. Go in the question, stay in the question. You have to know content. You have to know content. We can't pretend you don't. But it's really a matter of what is the question asking me and knowing how we pass the social worker skills. What do? We assess, assess, assess. And then especially with we're doing human behavior tonight, I have to know what theorists they're talking about. So this is Erikson, this is Kohlberg, this is all of those people that talk about human development. Okay, usually about 24% of the test. So my repeat test takers, can you recall seeing a lot of questions on just human development and normal human development as opposed to what is not normal?
Yes.
So we're supposed to know that. We're supposed to know, you know, if I'm doing a home visit and I walk in and I'm doing it on an elderly woman and the 2-year-old is not begun to walk, I'm supposed to know that that's not normal, right? So that's what we're here for, is to make sure that we understand that. 2-year-olds playing side by side, that is normal though, right? Because that's not autism, that's parallel play. And at 2, according to Piaget, then it really is just a matter of I'm egocentric. I don't even get that you're in the room. I could care less that you even exist because that's normal human behavior. 15-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds want to be themselves, according to Erikson, right? That is going to be that. Somebody tell me what stage of that of Erikson is that? So the way to remember Erikson's, let me go before I get into my lesson. Does anybody, again, question, something you've seen before, something you want to see someplace?
Or do
The test that you sent us after last group last Sunday, there's
Can you give me just 1 second, okay? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the question I asked in that last Cindy, let me pull up those questions. Did I put the answers in there as well?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And that was what date? Today is the 18th, so that was
The 11th.
Dr. Pam, I'm sorry. Do you always post these recordings on the private group ones? Because I've not seen them. I've just ever gotten my private sessions recorded.
Yes, I'm supposed to.
Okay.
And obviously I did not last week. So
And that's okay. I really would
Yeah.
love this one because I test soon,
Yes.
and I would really love this one.
Yes, they should always be there, and I apologize.
Thank you. I'll make sure, you know. Thank
Okay,
you.
hold on. I gotta find 811. Shoot. Okay, I just have to find your group.
Dr. Pam,
Uh-huh.
they actually are investigating my test. When I submitted it, even though you told me to, and it was less than 48 hours.
Uh-huh.
They're investigating, so I can't test until they actually said they're going to investigate it.
Do you mind sharing with the group?
I took the test with PSI. I'm a repeat offender. And
Oh, that sounds so awful. Okay.
well, I tested, and what happened was when I went to take the test, I had flagged some questions, like about 14 or 15 questions. And when I went to go back to answer my questions, it was like my answers weren't being accepted. And it's like I would push them numerous times and then submit, and it wouldn't. And then when I submitted again, I kept going through it over and over again. So then I had called over one of the testing administrators to show her what was going on. And she came over and she do this, but then she really didn't help me. She kind of walked away. And I'm looking at time, not really recognizing in that moment, I should have said, I want to just reschedule. So I went back after talking to Dr. Pam and talking to them, I sent an email to ASWB, and they responded. They told me that I had to do an incident report. So I had to do the incident report. And then they told me it could take up to 3 weeks before I would be able to, they can make I don't know what they're going to do, but they told me not to register and that's why I wanted to ask you, because I had already taken that test. As I said, I did go and pay for the test. So does that mean possibly I can get my money back for the test that I already paid, since for the one that I didn't pass?
I'm hoping that in the best of all worlds, you would take it again without charge.
Because I already had paid. I would already registered. So
that would give your money back. That would be the best of all worlds. Can I promise you that's going to happen? No. However, anybody, when anything is the least bit abnormal, you need to make sure that you report it within 24 hours. Report it. They're supposed to have standard policies, and everyone's supposed to have the exact same test environment. The rules should be the same. That's called external validity. So it should always be just the same.
That's why I didn't think anything after we had spoke, because I'm like, it's been over a month. And I was like, well, surely they're not going to do anything. So then I went on and submitted it anyway. I had emailed them, and I just, I wanted somebody to know, but they did respond. And I was like, okay, because I was thinking that it's been past the time frame. So I don't know. I'm just waiting to see what they decide.
And whenever there's an issue, I just always report it, because we always just want to make sure, even if nothing happens with you, and I hope that's not the case, the next time it gets reported, that where there's smoke, there's fire. We just always want to make sure that we're like letting somebody know this is not normal. Something happened here that shouldn't have happened.
That's why I wanted to present it to the group, because I know these ladies probably don't know or have never experienced this, and I haven't either. And I just, if you don't know, you don't know. But
I mean, anything like the power goes off, I use a story I usually say is I had a woman who was taking the test. The woman beside her, the testing people were eating chicken. She had fried chicken, and she was starving, and they were talking so loud. And that's just a disruptive test environment. That's supposed to be standardized. That's not okay. I cannot get that to open up. Can you tell me the name of what the first test question said, or the name of it?
It was just like question. I can read the question.
But I can pull up the whole set of tests, the whole questions. What the ones I put in the chat box, or
yeah,
was
put
it
in the chat box. Yes.
Okay. So what was the question?
It was a social worker has been working with individual therapy with a client for 3 weeks. During the current session, the client says that he has been feeling depressed, helpless, and stuck, and as though nothing will ever improve. He expresses suicidal ideation. To manage the risk for suicide in this case, what should the social worker do first?
Okay, let's stay on my question. So I've been seeing him for a while, right? I've been seeing him for a couple of weeks. Okay, and is this depression gotten worse? Is that what I heard?
Yes. So
okay, and now he to manage his suicidal ideations.
Yes.
Okay, so what are my 4 choices?
Explore what precipitated these feelings, or mobilize the client support system, or recruit the client's family members to monitor him, or find out whether the client home environment is safe.
Okay, so let's go back to the question. I definitely know, and I can't ask his family to monitor him. That's out.
Yes.
Okay. And what was number 4?
Find out whether the client home environment is safe.
Was there something in the question about the home environment?
No.
I'm thinking they're talking about looking for like weapons or guns. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what that means. So now we're down to A and B.
So my answer was explore what precipitated these feelings. Like assess more. But the answer was mobilize the client support system.
So my thought in that one was safety first.
Okay.
And so does it matter? If he's got suicide ideations, does it matter what caused it?
I just go like with always assess first. So
okay, but however, what comes before assess though? So remember safety, feelings and safety.
Okay.
So does it matter at this moment? Does it matter where they came from?
No. Okay.
Okay. So I was looking for something hospitalization, and even D if it said something about if he has guns at home. So something to make sure he's safe. That was what I was looking for.
Okay.
Okay. Assess, but safety trumps safety trumps assess.
Thank you.
Okay. Okie dokie. And yes, I'll put the videos up from last week as well. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
One, Dr. Pam, again, on, I don't know why I have such a hard time on single subject design. I don't know why I always want to go A-B.
Okay, that means I've repeated it.
Okay.
Okay. So what is a single subject design?
Single subject design is I guess if they're doing a study and I have 2 things.
No. It's so you're making it much bigger research than it actually is. Okay. So remind me what you do.
I was gonna say social work. Duh. I work with older adults.
Okay. And so what is
insurance environment?
Okay. In the single subject design, what's the A?
The A is this, would it be the subject?
The A is the baseline.
Okay.
The A is what most of you do every day when you see a client or a new client. The first thing you do is you ask them, what's the problem? What's going on? So it can be done with a single person. It can be done in a classroom, but I want to take it back down to simple. You do it all the time when you assess somebody. Okay. So let's say we're using the Beck's depression scale, right? And I come in and I'm asking my client, what's going on. And they're telling me, am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
They're telling me, I am so depressed. And I'm saying, so, how many times this week did you shower? How many times were you able to get out of bed? And that's what they're telling me, barely, and I'm really struggling with that. So what I'm going to do is take that baseline, and then I'm going to give them an intervention. I'm going to say, well, I want you to go home and do, hold on, somebody can't get in. Hey, can you check the email? It looks like somebody's trying to get in. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to take the baseline. I'm going to give them an intervention. I'm going to come back to see if my intervention worked. Okay, with the Beck's depression scale, so what I know is the higher your score, the more I'm worried, right? So if someone comes in and let me do a whiteboard. Okay, so someone comes in, and again, so my A is my baseline. And my client comes in and they say, this is 1, 2, these are the number of times, 6, 7. And I'm going through the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, etc. So they come in and I say, so can you tell me, how many times this week you showered? On day 1, you know what? It should be the other way. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Erase. One, 2, 3, 4. It goes up. Okay. So then I say, so on day 1, did you shower? Nope. On day 2, did you shower? Yeah, I showered once. On day 3, did you shower? Nope. And maybe this week they showered twice that day. Okay. So signs of depression are not being able to get out of bed, not being able to shower, right? Measurable goals. So I'm going to then implement my baseline. I'm going to implement my intervention. My intervention is going to be, let's do bibliotherapy. What does that term mean? Bibliotherapy means read a book. All it means. So my intervention is I want you to go home and read this book on depression. Okay. So I come back. That's my intervention. They come back. Now we're on week 10, 11, 12, 13. And as we're going, I find that it's not getting any better. It's not, maybe one day they showered more times. So it's still right here. If I find that Beck's is still very high, that means my intervention is not working. What would I do?
Try something else.
Got it. So then I could do another AB. So I could, again, take his baseline, and then now we could send him to the doctor and then do the same thing to see if meds worked.
Okay.
Okay. So an AB, single system design, is baseline and my intervention. Okay. I repeat it. It's AB, AB. So if it says, which is the best, is to repeat it to make sure it actually works. AB, AB.
So when we see just AB,
that's the answer you're looking for. AB says to repeat it. And sometimes I've seen it, what is it backwards? It's still AB. It's going to be ABA if I see it backwards. So it's intervention, baseline, intervention.
So it's never AB. Because
if it says repeat it, which is the best time if I repeat the AB.
Okay. So that's where I'm missing it. That means repeat it.
Or I'm repeating it. Okay. Now this is with a group. Okay. So this is a classroom, and you can do a FBA, a functional behavior analysis. Sometimes you'll see it on the test. It's an FBA. With an FBA, I am coming to the classroom and I am I'm looking for the antecedents, what happens before, or the consequence is what happens afterwards. Okay, I know I can change behavior by changing the A, that what happens before it, and or the C, the consequences. Remember, Skinner is our positive and negative reinforcement guy. He says we can change anyone's behavior with rewards and punishment. So in a classroom, got little Bobby Joe that was acting out. So the behavior specialist comes in and she takes a baseline. She starts to look at when Johnny is misbehaving. In an FBA, she's going to look at what happens first. If every time Johnny's teacher asks him to do a math question, that's when he acts up, that's a clear relationship between what's causing the behavior. The consequences are then when he throws the chair, what happens afterwards. So an FBA, a functional behavior analysis, uses ABC, which is right that I'm looking at either the antecedents or the consequences. One of those things affects the behavior. But if I'm doing a classroom, back to my screen. So am I sharing my screen? I probably stopped.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So this is I'm coming in to watch just little Johnny, and we see little Johnny by himself, and we see he is day 1, 2, 3, 4. He's off the chain. Number of behavior incidents per day. He's off the chain, right? Am I sharing? Okay. I go to the teacher, and what I say to the teacher is every time Johnny is doing what he's supposed to be doing, I want you to praise him. That is the intervention. Okay. So every time he's doing the right thing, reward him. So now I come back, and again, I'm going to look at Bobby's behavior, and I see that his behavior, the number of disruptions has gone way down. So I know this intervention has been effective. Okay. Again, I can repeat it. I can do an A-B design if I want to repeat the whole thing. So I want to say, oh, hey, it worked. Then I can do it again. Okay. The problem with this one is it's not okay to remove behaviors and remove the consequences sometimes. So I'm trying to do an A-B and trying to get the person to make usually the kid to make the change, but it's not okay to remove the intervention if the intervention is working. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so
it does. Thank you.
Don't freak out when you think it's totally research. It's really not research. It's really more what we do every single day. Okay. Research would be like the quasi-experimental. What's that one? Anybody know?
Not randomized.
Not randomized, not randomized. So what that means is in an office setting, if you're coming in, and so let's back up. A true experiment is when I've got 2 groups. I've got a control group and I've got an experimental group. The control group gets nothing, or the placebo, right? They get nothing. They're the ones who are just sitting here. The experimental group gets the new drug, right? If I do a double blind, that means neither the subject nor the researcher knows who's getting the drugs. Nobody has any clue. Okay. At the end, I'm seeing which one's working. Right? Which one worked? Did this group get better with no medicine, the sugar pill, or did this group better? That's a true experiment. Okay. However, you can't come into your office setting this week and think you're getting your normal Prozac, and now I'm randomly giving you a sugar pill. That's unethical, right? So if I'm trying a new medicine or a new type of therapy, I have to ask the clients, hey, we've got this new trial of medication going on. Would you like to be in it? So that way it's not randomized. I know who's getting the medication. It's unethical to do that, to give someone a new medication without telling them. So you cannot do that in your office setting. Miss Dorothy, it's so great to have you in group, but the rules are your camera has to be on. How are you? That's quite all right. And I'll remind, so I've got other new people here. So it's a participatory group, and I want you all to know each other and get to know each other and talk to each other outside of the group setting, support each other. Also, if you don't understand the question, I can just tell by the look on your face, and I'll just keep talking. Because sometimes I'll say, does everybody get it? And nobody says anything. And if you're going, I'm just going to keep talking. Okay. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Are you tutoring with one of my staff?
No, I attended one of your previous courses.
Okay.
And I know this is I have my test coming up, and I know this is one of my weakest areas, human growth and development with the theories and everything.
There's a lot of questions there, and you got to know your theorists.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That we're just starting off with just questions on anything in general. Is there something you've seen someplace, something that a question you've seen on Facebook, TDC, Social Work Exam Services? Let's see here. Alana, what's his name? RayTube. Anything you want to ask me?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I always get it confused with the operate and the conditioning and the, see, I forgot the other one. And so
Classical and operant.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the ones.
Operant is the one that most people struggle with. Classical conditioning is pairing two things together. Okay. So classical condition is Pavlov. Oh, you can't take notes, by the way. It's recorded, and I swear I'll give it to you. Okay. The goal is, if you're taking notes, you're going to miss something that I say, and then you're going to repeat it, and I'm going to be like so mad, and we're going to have this whole hissy fit throw down mess, and it's going to be bad. Okay. So classical conditioning is Pavlov. So, anybody else want to explain this before I do? Because the best way to learn is to teach.
Classical conditioning is unconscious. Like, for example, when the dog hear
so there's nothing unconscious.
It's not, okay.
No. So behavior is a choice. However, you're right there. It's an involuntary feeling. I think that's what you meant. It's involuntary. Okay. So yes. So with classical conditioning, is the stimulus is the thing, and the response is my body. Okay. Dogs naturally salivate. They just do. That's a natural response that dogs have. So in this situation, Pavlov, he paired the ringing of the bell with the food. So in the beginning, there was the dog. The dog, he could ring the bell all day long. Dog didn't have any idea what that meant. He's looking around like, what's that noise? And when he kept doing it, he would pair and then show food. The dog then knew that these two things happen at the same time. So it became a conditioned response. My body, the dog, is conditioned to that stimuli. Okay, that's what kindergarten is for. When little kids start kindergarten, they learn when the bell rings to do something, right? Their body responds when the bell rings. Okay. What happens when someone opens your door, Dorothy? I'm sorry, rings your doorbell. How do you feel?
I feel normal if I'm expecting them.
Okay, so if you're not expecting them, just the doorbell rings. You're sitting here right now, the doorbell rings. How would you feel?
Startled a little bit.
Okay. Some anxiety, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. So is that the only thing that creates that? Do other things create anxiety? For most of us.
Yeah, some things, yeah.
Things, yeah. So whatever the feeling is that you pair with that, in the beginning, it's an unconditioned response. Okay. And then over and over again. So when people start coming to my door, and for me, it's Amazon. It's Amazon. So now when I hear the doorbell ring, I'm like, yippee! Right? My little green ring is on my Amazon thing. I'm like, yeah, I got a package. So when I hear my doorbell, I just think, hey, it's an Amazon package. Okay, because I've paired excitement with the doorbell ringing. Okay, so unconditioned response. Dorothy, do you have a significant other that you still like?
Yes.
Okay, so when that significant other gets out of the shower and takes off their clothes, what does your body do?
Goosebumps.
Does it respond? Does your body do some things that you hadn't planned on happening? Just like,
yeah, goosebumps.
Okay. You paired that stimuli with this response. Okay. Don't, so tonight, just say, baby, I've been classically conditioned. Okay. So that's the goal is you pair two things together. Okay. I tell people test anxiety is not a real thing. Anxiety is a real thing that you've paired with the test. Okay. When you started grad school, you heard about that test thing up there, but thinking about it did not cause anxiety. You're in grad school and you're thinking, hey, I'll make social worker, make some money. You didn't pair these things together, right? But then as you get closer to graduating and you saw people, on Facebook, I take the test 17 times. Oh my gosh. Now you have paired fear with the test, anxiety with the test. That's classical conditioning when you pair two items. Okay. Counter conditioning is when we have to unpair them. People that smoke, right? So people that smoke, we treat it behaviorally as well as decreasing the need for nicotine. They wear the patch, right? And now we have to unpair. They're used to every time I have dinner, I smoke. Every time I have a cup of coffee, I smoke. They've paired those two things together. And to help them stop smoking, we have to unpair them or counter condition them. The clock goes clockwise, counterclockwise is the other way. So we help them unpair those new behaviors. So now after dinner, we need to find out something else to do because smoking, I can't smoke anymore. Okay. I don't want you to remember these things for the test. We do it in real life. I promise you, tonight in your bed, baby, you'll be screaming, Pamela. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, operant condition. Go ahead.
Is this similar to like the positive reinforcement and
no, totally different. Totally different.
Okay,
This is Pavlov. Skinner is, and remember, all of my behaviors, whenever we're looking at theories, all of my behaviors could care less about how you feel. Any question that talks about how you feel is definitely not a behaviors. Okay. Behavior said, I'm going to stop the behavior just based on rewards and consequences. So this is the one that people struggle with big time. It's the one I normally use. Actually, let me use a different. Okay. So when it comes to operant conditioning, what I'm looking for are rewards and consequences. Okay. So if I like the behavior, I'm going to reward it. I'm going to reward it by adding or taking away something. It is not good or bad. It is adding or taking away something, plus or minus. We're always going to start with the behavior first. Okay. So when I've got a question, I'm going to start off is what is the behavior? Okay. So let's start with this. Oh, and everybody struggles with these. So I'm sure everybody is glad that you asked. Okay, read that question for me.
Mr. Jones is in the habit of offering extra credit points on the next exam to students who contribute to class discussions. What kind of reinforcement strategy is Mr. Jones using to encourage class participation?
Okay, so then what is the behavior? What's happening? What does Mr. Jones want?
He wants to encourage class participation.
Okay, so that's the behavior. Okay, so he is rewarding that behavior. He wants that to continue, right? So I'm going to take away anything that says punishment. He's not trying to punish anybody. He's just trying to reward them. Okay, now is he rewarding them by adding or taking away something?
He's adding.
Okay, so what's he adding?
He's adding extra credit. to the
Okay,
next
so if
exam.
you do the right thing, he's going to give you extra credit. So that is called
Positive reward.
exactly same thing as a positive. If it's not, sometimes you'll see reinforcement as opposed to reward. But it
Yeah.
means the exact same thing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Let's stick with another one of those. Okay, Rita, take this one for me.
Joseph forgot to take out the trash as a part of his weekly chores, so his parents took away his video games privileges for the rest of the week. Joseph's parents are using which of the following principles of operant conditioning? So we have
Right.
Joseph, who's his task is to take the trash, but he did not do that part of his weekly.
Are his parents happy with the behavior?
No, they are not. So they
Okay.
took away the
Oh,
video game.
no. Start with start. Is it a punishment or is it a reinforcement? Always stay with the behavior first. So am I, do I like the behavior or do I not?
No, they did not like the behavior.
So that's a punishment, right?
Punishment, yes.
Okay. So then I'm going to take away anything that says reinforcement because they don't like the behavior.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now then, so did they add something or take away something?
They took away something, so it's negative punishment.
It is negative punishment. Very good. Very good. Okay, let me put a couple more up there, guys. Let's try. I'll take this one for me.
Which of the following best explains how operant conditioning differs from classical conditioning? Operant conditioning is complex that it employs negative and positive conditioning, whereas classical focuses on one or the other. Classical conditioning focuses on conditioning around the environment and consequences, unlike operant conditioning. Operant conditioning focuses on conditioning reflex behaviors, unlike classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is complex in that it employs negative and positive conditioning, whereas operant focuses on one or the other. And I gotta move it up. Classical conditioning operates with a stimulus, unlike operant conditioning. Whoa.
So when there's lots of words like that, go back to my question. And in my own words, I'm trying to say, remember in my own words, what is classical conditioning versus operant? So classical, remember, is my body, the stimulus, and the my body, I don't have any control over the response.
Okay. Classical, you don't have any control.
Right.
Okay.
My body responds the way that it does.
Okay. So operant focuses on conditioning reflex behaviors. I know that's not true because classical is the one that focuses on reflexes. My body responds the way it responds, right? Even when I don't like how it responds, dogs still just salivate. Okay, so would both the operants come out then, if that's the case?
So tell me I'm sorry, which other one?
The operant conditioning is complex in that it employs negative, positive conditioning, whereas classical focuses on one or the other.
Okay. So it is true that operant conditioning does, but classical doesn't. It just there's no rewards or consequences, right? It's just how my body behaves.
Okay, so I see. So I'm going to take out classroom condition, focus on conditioning around the environment, consequences unlike operant conditioning. I'm going to take that one out as well.
Which one? I'm sorry, they're not numbered.
Classical condition, focus on conditioning around the environment and consequences unlike operant conditioning.
Okay. I'm
And
down to 2.
down to 2. And so I'm going to take out the class conditioning is complex in that it employs negative and positive conditioning, whereas operant focus on one or the other.
Okay, so what's my answer?
Class conditioning operates with a stimulus, unlike operant conditioning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So when I have those long questions, and to me, I get lost in the question, I'm going to go through and just and always start with what I know. With what I know, we're going to spend more time understanding the question before I get to the answers, because that way I've understood the question, and I'm going to go back to the question when I get lost. It's so easy to get lost. Okay, Chanteriel, look at this one.
Sarah's dad increases Sarah's chores after she fails a test for the first time. The chores best represent which of the following types of operant conditioning sequences. So Sarah's dad increases Sarah's chores after she fails a test for the first time. So what is the behavior? That Sarah fails a test for the first time. So that means we're going to take out association. Well, I'm going to take out.
Okay, stay on my question. Her dad, the behavior, she failed the test, right? Does dad like that?
No.
Okay, so that is a
punishment.
Okay, so I'm going to take out what? Anything that's a reinforcer, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm also going to take out negative association, because we're not talking about associations. We're just talking about Skinner, who talked about rewards and consequences. Okay. Now then, is it a positive or a negative?
Because dad increases Sarah's chores, that would be positive punishment.
Absolutely. He added something to it. Absolutely. Positive punishment. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Well, we spent an hour doing it, so I should.
Well, it's stuck. It's stuck. It's stuck. Okay. Okay, Jocelyn. This is, do you know intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation?
Yeah, when it comes from inside and then extrinsic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Remember, whenever I see EX, I think of the exit sign. That's outside, right? Okay. Take this one for me.
Which of the following thought best represents intrinsic motivation? I wish this teacher down, but I don't think I should. It'll be rude. Susan is a member of a debate club. If I want to be like Susan, I need to join the debate club also. I shouldn't steal from my workplace since I'll probably get caught. If I can study for 2 hours every night before the test, I should be able to pass with a C or better. I should help my neighbor carrying his groceries since people ought to be kind to one another.
Rule out.
I would say that
we're going to rule out always, 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 always. Even if you know the answer, we're going to rule out.
Down, but I don't think I should ask her to be rude. I think that one is, we're ruling that out. That's extrinsic.
Okay.
The debate club is extrinsic. And that I shouldn't steal from workplace is extrinsic. If I can study for 2 hours, that's extrinsic as well. Okay. Then the last one is intrinsic.
Absolutely. It comes from inside of me. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. Is this helping, Dorothy? Does that make sense of how it works? Okay, Rita, this is yours. Last one on this topic.
You get in your car and start backing out of the driveway. Upon moving, the car starts to beep, signaling that you have not buckled your seatbelt. The sound is so annoying that you quickly buckle your seatbelt in an attempt to make the beeping stop. The beeping is an example of which of the following? So we have, you got in your car and you start driving in the driveway, and then you start hearing the beeping sound of because you did not buckle your seatbelt, which is so annoying. And then you quickly buckle up the seatbelt to stop the annoying beeping. So that beeping is example of
Okay, so stick with the behavior. What's the behavior in the question?
so it's a punishment or
Um,
reinforcement.
Okay,
Actually.
what is the behavior? That's all I want to know is what is the behavior?
Not buckling up the safety, the seatbelt.
Okay, okie dokie. So the government wants me to buckle, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then are they rewarding me, or they so they want me to buckle?
They want
Okay.
they want me to buckle, so
So they're trying to increase that behavior, right?
so reinforcement.
Okay, so they're trying to reinforce my behavior.
Yes.
I'm going to take out anything that's a punishment. Continuous reinforcement is when I'm trying to get a kid to be potty trained or something change the behavior quickly. That means like every time he pee-pees in the potty, I'm going pee-pee in the potty, pee-pee in the butt, big old pee-pee dance, all that good stuff. Remember that?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not doing that when they're 16, am I? Hey, mom, guess what? Just pee-pee in the butt. So continuous reinforcement only happens when they're little and I want the behavior to change quickly.
Mhm.
Okay. So now I am with a negative or a, oh wait, I took out.
You took out the positive reinforcement.
Hold on, yes. Yeah. Okay, I'm taking out. I'll take them all out. Let me start over. Okay, so I decided that the government wants me to buckle my seatbelt, right?
Yes. So
they're trying to reinforce the behavior. So I'm taking out anything that says punishment. Okay.
It's
so now
I would say like
no
positive.
guessing.
It's
No,
not
tell,
positive. It's
okay,
negative.
hold on. Stop. Stay on my question. Okay. They want me to buckle my seatbelt, right?
Yes.
When I buckle my seatbelt, what happens?
Stops. The beeping sound stops.
So it's added or taken away. If they take the sound away, is that
okay. That's they are taking the sound away.
So if they take something away, that is negative.
Negative. Okay.
That is a negative reinforcement. If I do what the government wants me to, right, and buckle up, the sound will stop. So whenever I see avoid or take away or anything like that, I always know it's a negative. They're taking something away. Remember, in the question, you're always going to find the behavior first. Find out if we like the behavior or not. And then we're either going to reward it or we're going to punish it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Those are hard because it goes with everything we've ever been taught about anything at all regarding behavior, right? We always think a positive punishment's a good thing, and it's not. You just added something to stop my behavior.
When you're talking about intrinsic motivation, is that part of the negative?
No, but it's a behavior term. Okay. So what I pulled up is behavior questions, and that's a part of the behavior term. Okay. So I clean my house because it feels good on the inside. I like the way that it feels. Extrinsic motivation is when usually I say spouses will clean the house, so you'll stop bitching. That not from inside, right? It's not from inside. Most men don't enjoy the smell of clean laundry. Maybe yours do. I'm just saying. I love the smell of clean laundry. I do. I do not love the smell of clean laundry. I don't like doing laundry, but I like the smell. Okay. So yes. Okay. Okie dokie. So yes, this is actually under human behavior as well. So knowing Skinner and operant conditioning is part of that. So absolutely. Let me ask you something about something else. Do you know Thorndike's law of effect? Thorndike's law of effect says if I want to change behavior, I need to reward or consequence the behavior as close to the behavior as possible. Okay. So you know what? When you're at the grocery store and your kid comes home, your kid comes in and he's misbehaving at the store, and you say, "Wait till your father gets home." You know what? That's a long time. If I want to change the behavior, I need to change it as close to the behavior as possible. Okay. When my son was little, my little ADD son that I didn't know about ADD, and I would leave my grocery cart right there, and we go in the bathroom and do a timeout. As opposed to waiting till we get home, right? It loses its punch. So if I want to change behavior, that theory says, and it's the law of effect, I need to change, I reward it or consequence it as soon as possible to the behavior. Remember in grad school when you did a paper and your teacher waited 3 weeks to give it back, and you'd written 3 papers already, and you kept making the same mistake? If you had told me the first time and give my paper back the first time, I wouldn't have made those mistakes. That's the law of effect. Okay. How about the schedule of reinforcement? Intermittent and interval reinforcement, fixed ratio. Do those terms sound familiar?
Research, it does.
It's not
I've
research.
seen them.
It's
Yeah, and
not
I always
research.
thought that was a research question.
It's
Yeah.
not research. It is not research. Okay.
Wow.
So let's talk about this. Is still behavior. Okay. So this is called the schedule of reinforcement. The schedule and reinforcement has to do with how we reinforce behavior. And this is all in chapter 1 of the APGAR book. So this is not new stuff. And this is the stuff you should have read, because most of you got to chapter 1. It's just the other parts that were so awful.
I can speak for myself, Dr. Pam. Even when I'm testing, I guess I find myself focusing on all the ones, and I'm using my air quotes, that I have always heard, like Piaget, Maslow, what is it, Mutin? I know I'm going to butcher the names, but I feel like I find myself going back to focus on all of the ones we heard. Then when I see these, I'm like, oh yeah, I did see that in the book, but I forget about it. But then every now and again, I'm a repeat offender too, that I've seen it.
I'm just going to say, how well is that working for you?
Yeah, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, I was going to say, if it's working for you, then we can let it go. But if it ain't working for you, let's pick up some things that we don't know.
So I'm glad you're bringing it up, because I tend to go back focusing on same thing.
Okay, so the schedule of reinforcement talks about how we reinforce behaviors. Okay, just trying to make sure everybody in group. Okay, so interval means time. If you get paid every 2 weeks, it's a fixed interval. It's the same amount of time. Okay, if you're young enough to still have a period and your period is 2 weeks, you can clock it like whatever. It's fixed, right? I know this Wednesday at 7:30 and 28 days from now at Wednesday, I'm going to start my period. That's fixed time. Okay. Variable intervals, I'm not sure when it's going to happen. It's time. My youngest daughter got an IUD, and she's like 20. She's like, Mom, I'm bleeding. I'm like, baby, that's normal occasionally. You know, it's normal. So like, you don't know. You just don't know when it's going to happen, right? So that's variable. It's time. Okay. So the examples it gives is checking your email or winning a video game. When you are looking for a job or looking for good information, you check that email every 10 minutes, don't you? Okay. When it's the weekend and now you got to work tomorrow, you might check it a couple times this weekend, but you're not checking the same thing all the time. That's a variable interval. The fixed ratio, the ratio of the number of items. Every time you, when you, your Panera card, right? Every time you buy so many cups of coffee, you get points. Okay, so it's the ratio, the number of items it takes. And variable ratio means that I don't know how many items it's going to take. So fixed is always telling me exactly when it's going to be. Ratio is the number of incidences. And then variable means either variable interval, which is time, or variable ratio. The one that is the hardest to break is variable ratio. That's why people gamble. They never know when they're going to win. Okay. I bought 5 lottery tickets this week, and then next week I'm going to buy 5 more because I won once, so I'm going to keep playing. Okay. The reason that you keep begging your husband for sex is because, you know what, eventually he gives in. Well, come on, honey. Okay, maybe it's the other way. Come on, honey, please. Come on, honey, please, please, please. Okay, some days he has to ask you 20 times before you give in. Some days it's only once. But that's why we keep asking, because at some point, gonna give in. That's why the variable ratio is the hardest to break. Because at some point, I'm going to give in. At some point, I'm going to get what I want. Okay, make sense? Let's put that to questions. Let's look at this one. Okay. That question, can anybody see that one? Too small?
I can see it.
Okay, well, go ahead and read it for me then.
Darn it.
I
In
know.
upward conditioning, the process by which reinforcers guide a response closer and closer towards a desired behavior is called what? So in operant conditioning, the process by reinforcing guide a response closer and closer towards desired behavior. Okay, I know it's not going to be tweaking, and I know it's not going to be reconditioning.
Okay. What's the question asking me?
The process by which reinforcers guide a response.
Okay, so I need that in your own words, because all you did was repeat what you read. Okay, so in your own words, paraphrase, what does that mean?
It's gonna be, I say.
No, I don't want the answer. I could care less if you get it right. I want you to understand the content. Okay, so what I know, sorry, let me go back up. Oops.
So the closer and closer I get to a desired behavior is
absolutely, absolutely. So what? So a little kid that is trying to walk, right? Okay. So when they take their first step, what do we do?
Yay! You did
Get the
it.
video camera, right? Calling everybody. Is that all we want? They just want them to take one step?
No, we want them to keep going.
We want them to walk. So when we go yay, when they take one step, what's that called? That's shaping. That is shaping.
Shaping?
Shaping, yes. It's rewarding you as you get closer to what I really want you to do. Okay. So, when you are in any like math class or any kind of thing in school, right? So you're, in 4th grade, you're trying to get to learning your decimals or whatever. Every time you get closer to that, you get a report card, you get an A, you get something, right? Yes, you got this right, but the real goal is to get over here. So in order to get you where I want you to be, every time you get a step closer, I'm going to reward that behavior. That's called shaping. Autistic child makes a sound. Okay. We're rewarding that behavior, but the question says, I want the autistic child to be able to speak, to say a word. They're not where I want them to be, but they're making progress. That's shaping.
Okay.
Okay. Okie dokie. Take this one from me, Rita. Your fixed interval schedule.
Can you make it a little bit bigger?
I can.
So fix is something that's gonna happen all the time, anytime.
Which of the
Right.
Which of the following best
It's gonna be big.
represents a fixed interval schedule of reinforcement?
Okay. So what does that mean in the question? What's fixed interval schedule?
Fixed interval schedule of reinforcement.
Okay. So go back up to my,
Yeah,
okay.
it's gonna
So
happen all the time.
mute yourself unless she asks for help.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's your fixed interval. That means it happens the same time. Interval is time.
interval is time, yes.
Okay. And fixed is the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
So answers are: student receives an A after studying for 3 hours the night before a test. An office worker receives a biweekly paycheck for $630, and a random number dispenses a food pellet into a pigeon's cage on either every third, fifth, or seventh press of a button. A pet dog is fed in the morning when his owner gets up, and then again in the evening when the owner gets home. A gambler wins a jackpot after 1,000 spins on a slot machine, then immediately wins a second jackpot on the next spin. It's not a gambler.
Okay. So I'm looking for fixed time.
For a reinforcement, yes.
Okay. So then what can I take out for sure?
The gambler.
Okay. So the gambler is what?
It's like it just happened like once after like.
Okay. So that is a variable ratio. It's not fixed. He just got lucky.
Yes.
That's a variable ratio.
And also a student receives an A after studying for 3 hours. That's not fixed. That just happened one time, probably after he studied the night before the test.
Okay.
So is it like the answer, is it one answer, right?
Yep.
It just have to be one answer. Okay.
Yep.
The answer is office worker receives bi-weekly paycheck.
You got it. It's fixed interval. He gets paid every 2 weeks. What is the random number? What is that one?
Random number generates this food. It's like just click any random number that generates the food for the pigeon
So
cage.
it happens either the 3rd, 5th, or 7th. What is that one?
Not sure. What is that?
Anybody?
It would be interval.
That is, that's not interval. That's ratio.
Ratio.
Okay. So then the ratio would be 5, 6, 7. So is it the same time every time? It is not. So that's a variable ratio.
Okay.
It's variable. It's either the third, seventh, fifth, or seventh, right?
Okay.
Okay. So what about the pet dog? How come that's not a fixed ratio, a fixed interval?
This is an operant conditioning, isn't it? I
Mm-mm,
mean,
nope,
classical.
nope.
Would it be because it's random? It says a random number?
Okay, I'm doing the dog. A pet dog is fed in the morning when the owner gets up and in the evening when the owner goes to bed.
Different times. The
Tell
one
me
in the
more.
morning and one at night.
Okay, so that's still fixed, isn't it?
No.
I'm feeding them twice a day, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yes, but at different times.
Okay, so explain that to me.
I'm just saying yes, you are doing it twice a day, but a dog is fed in the morning when he gets up. To me, I'm thinking morning, 8 a.m. and the evening is, anytime after 5 or 6.
Okay, so that you're right. Okay, right answer, wrong reason. So the thing is, Monday through Friday, I may get up at the same time, but on the Saturday and Sunday, I don't get up at the same time. Right? So he gets fed every morning and every evening when I get home, but it's not the same time every single day. Does that make sense? That's why it's not fixed. Because fixed would say it happens the exact same time every single day. Got that?
So what would it be then?
That one will be variable. It'd be a variable interval.
Okay, interval.
It's
Okay.
still time, right? I just don't know when it's going to happen. Okay, so if you and for some people, if you get up like clockwork all the time, and I know exactly when I'm getting up, and it's the same time 7 days a week. There are people that have that internal clock, right, and they always get up at the exact same time. For them, that might be, but for most of us, that's not a fixed one. That is what I'm trying to. It's variable because I don't get up at the same time, especially Monday through Fridays. I don't, and that's the assumption that most of us don't. Okay. Okay, let's go to some more questions. Okay, this is again all part of chapter 1. So that's where this information really comes from, is that first chapter of APGAR book. And I'll say again, the bachelor's level is so much easier to read when it comes to that. Okay, let me pull up some questions here. Okay. We're looking at normal human behavior, and some of them are based on theorists. Okay, so we really have to figure out what the question is asking me, and trying to figure out what's normal human behavior and what's not. Okay, volunteers?
I'll take it.
And make them just all bigger. Okay, it's that one, my 2-year-old.
Yes.
Okay.
A parent says, my 2-year-old child refuses toilet training and shouts no when given directions. What do you think is wrong? What is the social worker's best response? So this is about child development.
Okay, that's what chapter 1 is, human development, right?
Right. And
Okay.
about a 2-year-old whose parent says he's refusing to potty train and shouts no when given direction. So I'm asked, how do I reply to that? What's wrong? So A says your child needs firmer control. It is important to set limits now. This is normal for your child's age. The child is striving for independence. There may be developmental problems. Most children are totally trained by age 2. Can you pull it up a little bit? Because I have my thing on. I can't see it. Yeah. Some undesirable. Yeah, that's it. Some undesirable attitudes are developing. A child psychologist can help you develop a plan. So,
Okay, so let's stay in my question first.
Okay.
Is that abnormal?
No.
Okay. When should be children be potty trained according to the textbook?
3 or older.
Right. I'm not worried till 5.
Okay.
Right. In your Reese's is diagnosed at 5. So for the textbook, the daycare rule is they have to be potty trained by 3. Okay, so that's what we're going to stick with. So 3 is what I'm concerned for a medical diagnosis at 5.
Okay.
Okay.
So gonna take out D. And also C. And I'm gonna go with B. This is normal for your child's age.
Okay. Okay. So those are those questions. Well, I don't care what your mama said. That ain't the right answer for the test. Okay. What theorist is that striving for independence?
Is that Freud?
Mm-hmm.
Piaget.
Piaget, absolutely. That's Piaget. Okay. So actually that's Erikson. Erikson talks about
yes.
autonomy
Yes,
versus shame and doubts.
Doubt,
That's where we're
yes.
going. They want their own stuff. Okay. Good. Okay. Shantiro, this is yours.
A 26-month-old displays negative behavior, refuses toilet training, and often says no. What psychosocial crisis is evident? So
when it says psychosocial crisis, which therapist is that?
Erikson's.
Absolutely. He uses the word crisis. You're stuck. Fixation belongs to Freud. Okay.
And I go through a whole thing while I write this down, so I'm gonna try not to do that here.
If you want to in front of you, it works fine for me. I just need you to be able to do it when you're ready to take the test.
Yeah, I just so 26-month-old trust versus mistrust. I know that's not it. I'm sorry, I have to kind of do my 26 because I do not have children. So 26 month, I'm doing my age. So I'm gonna say that is autonomy versus shame and doubt.
You sure are. Okay.
And I have a whole Tim and Ingrid in Italy, in Geneva, England, and I break it down.
Lord, I'm going to tell you. So remember, it matters what happens in the question, because I can be at the wrong stage, right? I can be 60 and still stuck in trust versus mistrust. Okay. So that's what I want to remember.
My ages.
Okay. I want to know what's happening also though. Okay. Okie dokie. Who's next? Dorothy? I don't hear you. You're muted.
Okay. A 4-year-old grabs toys from other children and says, "I want that now." From a psychoanalytic perspective, this behavior is a product of impulse originating in which systems of the personality?
Say my question. Who are they asking me about? Tell me the question in your own words. Who are they asking about?
They're asking about the 4-year-old's
and psychoanalytic perspective. Who's that?
That's what the 4-year-old sees from their point of view.
Absolutely. So psychodynamic is what it's called now, right? That's 12 weeks on my couch. And development is Freud, and Freud's the only one that ever talks about sex, baby.
I want it now, and during this age, the child is like kind of selfish about me. So it's about
Rule out, even if you know my answer.
I will rule out D.
Okay. What's in my preconscious?
Preconscious.
What's in there?
It's no, it's doing something. Unconscious is not doing something on without you knowing. Preconscious is.
So he said it's called the topography. It's called, it looks at where the, show the image.
I heard of that word before.
Well, let's make sure we know if it comes up on the test. Let me just show you.
Okay.
So the goal of Freudian therapy, so this is human development, but the goal of therapy in treating someone using a psychoanalytic approach is to bring the unconscious to the conscious, right?
Okay.
So my topography is where things are. So remember, we don't use the term subconscious. That is a lay people's term. That's what someone who's not in the field would say. So we say preconscious. Those are things that are in my memory that I can usually pull up without having a Freudian do it for me. So if I ask you who's the first boy you kissed or who was your favorite teacher in elementary school, if you give it some time, you can pull it up by yourself. In your unconscious, that's where your id and your superego develops. You're born with your id, right? Eat, sleep, and procreate. Your superego is your angel. My id says, I want it, I want it, I want it. Superego says, don't you dare. Ego keeps everything in check. Okay. All of my defense mechanisms are in my unconscious, except for one. Does anybody know the one defense mechanism that is not unconscious?
Denial?
That's unconscious.
Suppression.
Suppression. Repression is I push them all the way down, so far down, I don't remember it all. Suppression, the question will say, yeah, Pam remembers it happened, but she doesn't want to talk about it. That's a choice. So denial, regression, right? Reaction formation, all of those things are in my unconscious, according to Freud. They protect my ego from things that I'm not ready to handle. Okay. So now back to my question.
The answer would be the ego.
Nope.
Super.
Okay, let's go back. What did I say? Let me give you another picture. So I said, let me go back. That help?
Yes.
My id is what?
The picture. The id is the
pleasure principle. Oh,
yes. Yes.
I was trying not to sing it, but I was singing it in my head.
That is my id. Eat, sleep, and have sex. That's all my id ever wants to do. Okay. My superego, id's my devil, superego's my angel. Okay. And the ego is what keeps me both in check. Okay. Now going back to my question.
It would be superego.
Okay. Read the question.
A 4-year-old grabs toys from the other children and says, I want that now. From a psychoanalytic perspective, this behavior is a product of impulse originating.
I want it now. I don't care what you say. I want it now. I want pure pleasure now.
Id.
That's the devil. That's the id.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. My devil wants it here and now, according to Freud. So we've got to understand, according to Freud, that's what the right answer would be, according to Freud.
Okay.
Okay. And for this, the test question, all that matters is what do the theorists say? Does it matter if I agree with them or not? No one asks you what I think. Okay. Okay. Stay with me. Okay. Look at that one then. Dorothy.
A client is suspicious and is frequently sarcastic towards others. To which psychosocial stage do these traits relate? Suspicious and frequently sarcastic towards others.
Okay. So what is the question asking me?
Which psychosocial stage was this person kind of like stuck in?
Very good. So he used the word fixated. Okay.
Mhm.
So which one are they fixated in? They did not get it satisfied by their parent.
It would be oral.
It would be very good. Sarcasm comes with my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. 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 Okay. Let me give you one more. You're going to make sure you got Freud so down. Freud's always going to be on there because he's the father of talk therapy, as crazy as he was. Okay. Try that one.
A client expresses a desire to be cared for by others and often behaves in a helpless fashion. Which stage of psychosexual development is most relevant to this client's needs? Expresses a desire to be cared for in a helpless fashion. Would it be?
Tell me in your own words what the question is asking me.
It's asking which stage that the client gets stuck on because
based on
the client's desire to always want to be cared for.
Okay.
And kind of behaves in a helpless, like a victim fashion.
Okay. It didn't say victim. It just said
Victim
helpless.
is helpless. Yes,
Okay.
helpless.
So according to Freud, which one of these stages would be the most one that is helpless?
I want to say latency.
So OAPLG, oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. In the latency stage, nothing happens. That is right from 7 to 11. I'm sorry, 6 to 11, and nothing sexual happens. It's hidden. Okay. So what's the earliest stage? The earliest stage is my oral stage.
Oral. Oh.
Okay. So I want if my mother never satisfied that, those are my babies.
Oh, it's like, see, two questions with the same
I
answer.
know,
but
and
asked a different
differently.
way.
I know. That's why you have to just know content. You just have to know content. Okay. So it might, and go ahead.
Can you give an example of phallic? Okay.
Phallic, well, you tell me. So what happens in that stage?
Okay, oral is the oral. Anal is like when they potty train.
And the phallic stage is I find my toy box.
Toy box?
That thing between my legs I get to play with.
Oh, play doctor?
My toy box. Okay. So so that's the phallic stage where they actually find, their genitalia. Masturbation is the word in the phallic stage. We have the Electra and the Oedipus complex.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens in the Electra stage?
In the electric stage, just one a little girl is jealous of her father.
Okay.
And
so the little girl The little girl wants to be her father.
Father.
She doesn't like her mother.
And she has penis envy.
She wants to have a penis like her dad. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So she's the Electra. And what about the Oedipus? What's that one?
Oedipus is when the little boy doesn't like his dad.
Okay.
And
what's he afraid of? What's he afraid of?
He's afraid of being castrated.
Absolutely. He's afraid his dad will find out and cut his penis off. Absolutely. Okay. So then how do those stages, if I have if it works out well, I got past through that stage appropriately, what does that look like?
When you pass this.
Well, let me give you a question so we can see. Right, hold on. This one, yeah.
I don't know why when I hear Oedipus, I think about Norman Bates.
Well, because he kept his mother alive and she was dead. So that's what happens according to Freud. If you don't satisfy appropriately, then you end up having an unhealthy sexual relationship with your mother as an adult because you're fixated in the phallic stage. So you should think of Norman Bates. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So look at Ben.
Since Ben was 3 years old, he loved to follow his dad into the bathroom every morning and watch him get ready for the day. Little Ben would imitate his father and pretend to shave and brush his teeth and gargle just like him. Freudian.
There's a question missing on that one. This one is. Okay, there we go.
Freudians will refer to this behavior as.
Okay, so how old is he?
He's 3.
Okay. So what stage is he in, according to Freud? Three to 5 is my phallic stage.
Oh, yes. He's in the genitalia.
So he's in the phallic stage. So that's when I find my toy box. Masturbation is the goal of that stage. Okay. What I said, though, is what happens if I satisfy the stage appropriately. So what happens is Freud talks about we get fixated in the stage. Okay. But what happens if it works out okay, I get through the stage appropriately? What would it look like?
Imitation?
Right? It is not. It is identification. And that
okay.
is just knowing the Freudian term. They all pretty much look the same thing, think the same thing, don't they? Okay. But if I end the stage appropriately, then I'm going to be, I'll identify with the same sex parent.
Oh, okay. Okay. I get it.
Okay. Does that make sense? That's the terminology he would use.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Okay.
Dr. Pam, I have a question. One day I was watching, I don't know what video I was watching of yours. It's probably one of like the human development. But you were doing like a and I can't find it again, but you had different theorists and it was almost like a match game. I don't know if it was something of yours or it was a Google something.
So I used to use Cram. But they have changed it. I haven't, it still loads, but it won't access for me.
Okay.
But it was called Cram. Okay. This is a matter of these, just using this vocabulary every day. Okay. Rita, this is yours.
An adult says, I never know the answers and my opinion does not count. Which psychosocial crisis was unsuccessfully resolved for this adult. So this is Erik Erikson. And I never know the answer, and my opinion does not count. Is it initiative versus guilt, trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, or
generativity versus self-absorption. Usually we see that last stage called stagnation. This stage called stagnation.
Yes.
But that's what it means. People who are stagnated are just really about not caring about leaving a legacy, not caring about the future. They only care about where they're at.
Okay. It's not D.
No, it's not D.
It's not D, and it's
come on.
Not B. Is it A? Initiative versus. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Okay, I seem to do that. Okay, so it's not D for sure. No, undo
that. C.
You tell me.
Between
not a guessing game. It's not a guessing game. That in my question, okay? You tell me. You're taking the test, and I'm not there. Okay.
Versus.
My opinion doesn't count. Okay.
C, autonomy versus shame and doubt.
Absolutely. When should I have learned that?
It's just like when taken in, like
which of Erikson's stages is this? So autonomy versus shame and doubt is something that I should have learned at when I'm potty training. Okay. But if I never got that, if every time I tried to learn to potty train, if every time I tried to do something, my parents made me feel doubtful or ashamed, then I never learned that what I say matters. Okay. So you're right, but I think you were guessing there. Okay. So we've got to be able to figure out, because they're never going to be written as simple as what stage is this? It's going to be a sentence like this, and I've got to figure out what they're at, what stage am I in? Okay, so if I grew up so remember, I can be 50 and be still stuck in that stage, according to Erikson. He calls it a crisis. An identity crisis for for Erikson, is between 18 and 21, and 13 and 21. I don't know my identity. I'm stuck in that stage. So I can be 50 and still not know who I am. So we've just got to know these, and it's heavy, heavy, heavy in human development. Okay.
Does Kohlberg come in the exams?
He does. I'll give you a Kohlberg question. He is our moral development guy.
Yeah, I've heard like they don't really have questions about Kohlberg, and I really never had any in my previous attempts.
If they didn't mention his name, would you know?
If they did, yeah, I wouldn't know. Yeah.
I don't think you would. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic. I think that if it doesn't say his name, I get people come back and tell me all the time, I didn't have any Erikson questions. And because you didn't see his name, you assume you didn't have any Erikson. So I'm just going to say, if you're not doing well in human development, there's some things you're just missing. So that's just, and this is, it's a fourth of the test. So Kohlberg is moral development. He talks about the 3 stages of morality. So usually he's on there. Okay. But again, it's like this where I don't see his name. And that's where we struggle, right? Because they didn't give me his name.
Yeah.
Okay. Take this one, Rita.
An adult dies in a tragic accident. Afterward, the siblings plan a funeral service. Which statement by sibling best indicates a sense of self self-actualization.
What theorist is this?
This is Maslow.
Very good. Very
Actually,
good.
you gave me that question the other day.
Okay.
So that's why I know.
Okay. Now let me somebody else do it. Let somebody else do it. Okay. Latrell, you take it.
An adult dies in a tragic accident. Afterwards, the siblings plan a funeral, which statement by a sibling indicates self-actualization. Okay. So what I know about self-actualization is it's one of those, it's a stage we're not known to actually, and Maslow says we don't actually, most people don't meet that,
Got it.
reach that stage.
And if we get there, very likely do we stay there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the answers are A, of all of us, I am the most experienced with planning these type of events. B, funerals are supposed to be conducted quietly, respectfully, and according to social protocol. C, this death was unfair, but I hope we can plan a service that everyone feels is a celebration of life. D, this death was probably the consequence of years of selfish and inconsiderate behavior by our sibling.
So if I am self-actualized, what would I not say?
Okay, what would you not say?
That's I'm ruling out.
Okay. C. I'm gonna take C out.
Okay, why?
Says this death was unfair, but I hope we can plan a service that everyone feels is a celebration of life.
Well, that's my answer.
Okay, I was thinking it was A.
Okay, so talk to me. So it's Freud. I'm sorry, it's Maslow. So if I'm at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm not worried about anything else, right? I'm just worried about me and my stuff. And no, I'm sorry, my stuff is good, so I can take care of other people.
Okay.
Okay. So then let's go through the number one. What does that one say?
All of us, I am the most experienced with planning these types of events.
Okay. So that doesn't sound self-actualized. That just sounds mean.
Right.
Y'all know nothing. Okay. How about B?
Funerals are supposed to be conducted quietly, respectfully, and according to social protocol. That's not.
Okay. If I'm self-actualized, I don't have any worries. I just want life to be good, right? And just be able to really focus on life is good. I want to help other people out. I'm do everything I can. So that's the only one, but let's plan a service that everyone feels like a celebration of life.
Okay.
I don't really, I mean, I'm good with me, so I'm not going to fight with you over where we spend the money. I'm just not going to do, I don't care that much because I'm good with me.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense? I can see that's a struggle.
It is a struggle.
Okay.
Even
So
though I have some idea about it, but they're still in the weeds.
okay. So, and that's again, making sure I can put those into questions, and they're never going to be as simple as I'd like for them to be. Okay. Okay, Chanterelle, this is you. Again, it's a matter of just knowing these theorists so well that I understand what they mean, not just memorizing, but I really know what they're asking me.
And on that one too, and maybe this is just me and my thinking, with that one, when I think of like self-accusation and Maslow, when you say that most people will never get there, like the kumbaya, oh, everything is great, and oh, I don't need it, oh, don't worry about it, I'm good, like you said, so for me, that's how I came to, but I hope we can plan a service that everyone feels, and I even changed my tone with it, a celebration of life. Like it's all perfect, such and such past, you know.
I like that will stick with, I think I could take from that.
And honestly, I think, you know, when I think of funeral services, unfortunately it gets catty. And so unfortunately, self-accusation, everyone, we don't all get to that kumbaya. So that was just how I came up with.
I was her favorite. I was Mama's favorite. This was mine. She didn't want that dress. Okay,
yeah, and maybe Latrell, that's how I came up when you literally said self-accusation, and most people never get to that. I've heard it, but you made it make sense. Okay. Now let me see if I can do mine. Okay. Which of the following is not typically part of the sensory motor stage of cognitive development? So question is asking me which of these is not typically a part of sensory motor stage. So I know sensory motor stage is crawling, babbling babies.
Okay.
So which is not.
This is the first year of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so SPCF, what is the goal? What is the task that babies learn in this stage?
Crawling, babbling.
There's a task. So sensory motor is what they do and how they learn it, right? All 5 of their senses as they motor along. But what's the task? What are they supposed to learn?
Right, sitting up.
Object permanence.
Okay, object permanency is the word.
Know that's 6 months. I know, does Dr. Pam still exist? Does she still exist? Right, that's the goal. After 6 months, according to Piaget, mom still exists. So a baby that cries the mom is upset because her baby goes to anybody at 4 months is because the baby doesn't get that other people exist. Okay.
Okay, so with that, which is not typically part of the sensory motor stage of cognitive development. So actions are imitative in nature. Intentional actions begin to emerge. No. Difference between past, present, and future is learned. Primitive ability to manipulate objects is seen. So we already know object permanency. So we know that that's 1. D is yes. Actions are.
Okay, hold on. That is not what D says.
Primitive ability to manipulate objects is seen.
Okay.
So
that doesn't mean object permanence. What does that mean?
Manipulate objects, moving objects, learning how to work them.
Exactly. So babies learn, like, you know, you put the little bell things on their socks, and they learn if they move their feet, the bell things move. Okay. They learn they have they can do some things. Okay. So that is true. I just want to make sure you know why it was true. Okay. That's not okay.
Okay. So I'm saying like yes on that, but not that's the answer.
Okay. So I'm taking out the true answers. I'm looking for the ones that's not, right? So
so difference between past, present, and future is learned. Parking that one. Intentional actions begin to emerge. That happens. Actions are imitative in nature. So yes, so my answer is not typically part of sensory motor. So it'll be C. Difference between past, present, and future is learned. They're not doing that at that age.
That's my first year of life. I have no clue yet.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. And okay. And again, that's one also that belongs to Piaget, and people swear up and down they didn't have any Piaget questions at all. Okay, this is gender and sexuality, still in chapter 1. Go ahead and take this one too, Shantaro.
That's because I look like that, wasn't it? According to secular gender theory, pansexuality is defined as, my last question, I had a lot of gender questions, I feel.
Okay.
So according to secular gender theory, and I don't know why I think of secular church, gender theory.
So, because you're right, that means non-religious. That's
Um,
absolutely what that term means. Good.
Okay. According to secular gender theory, pansexuality is defined as pansexual. I know that's loving everyone. Okay, A, being attractive to ton members of the opposite gender, but only engaging in sexual activity with those of the same gender. What? Being attracted to only members of the same gender throughout the life course? No. Being attracted to others regardless of gender? Choosing not to engage in sexual activity with either gender regardless of attraction. So according to secular gender theory, pansexuality is defined as, now I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea, but I'm gonna rule out. I
Okay.
know that it's not going to be C. And I am saying that it's not going to be being attracted to only members of the same, no.
So let me help you out here. So pansexuality means
Loving
that I'm attracted, well, I'm attracted to a personality type, and I don't care what body it comes in.
Okay.
I like smart people. I like tall people. I like whatever people. I like rich people, and I don't care what body it comes in.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
being
then,
attracted to the opposite gender, but only. So I'm gonna just say A, being attracted to members of the opposite gender, but only engaging in sex with those of the same gender. Being attracted to only members
that
of the
don't
same.
make no sense.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna put that out there, okay? So being attracted to opposite gender. So I'm attracted to men, but I'm gonna sleep with women.
Yeah, that
And
and
just,
honestly, I'm thinking Wayne
that don't-
Brady, who's now said he's pansexual. So that's why I'm like, no. So being attracted to only members of the same
Okay,
gender.
so you know what
throughout
you
the life-
did? You thought. No thinking. What I
Okay.
said is pansexuality means, I told you the story. I found out this the hard way. I was hanging out with the girlfriend, and she was engaged to somebody, and we're hanging out. We kept hanging out, and she kept saying to me, I really like attractive people. And I'm like, oh, go ahead with me. Did I just over my head? I'm like, you have a boyfriend. No, she likes what she likes, and doesn't matter if it comes in male, female, or non-binary. Just over my head, just didn't even get it. Okay.
So maybe right now I'm looking clueless because maybe I do.
So I like something, but it doesn't matter what body it comes
Being
in.
attracted to others regardless of gender.
There's
Okay.
something that I like, and I don't care what body it comes in.
Okay. Because I said it, pansexuality, but I didn't.
You said I like everybody. That's what you said.
Okay.
Okay. So that was the
Okay.
closest one to saying I like everybody.
Okay.
Okay. I like rich people, but I ain't never gonna sleep with no rich woman. I'm sorry. That's just not gonna happen. Okay. That's just my choice, 6
True.
feet tall, 6-figure, preferably dark. I got my biases. Okay. Pansexuality means I like lots of different people. I like what I like, and I don't care what it comes in.
Okay.
Okay, Dorothy?
I'm gonna run and get my battery.
Which of the following is true of collectivist cultures? They value individual self.
Stand my question. What does that mean?
What is true of
What are collectivist cultures?
First time I heard that word before.
Okay, so collectivist cultures are many times our Asian population, our Hispanic population that live for the entire group. Most Americans are about me and my four, but no more. So if you have a family that comes in, and they're Hispanic family, and 27 people come to the family conference, right? It's because we're all family. Okay. So collectivist and societies work what's good for everybody, not just what's good for my four. Okay. Americans are individualistic. Collectivists are we're doing what's best for everybody. Okay.
Yeah,
So now let's rule out. So I'm looking, there are three that are not true. So what can I take out that is not true?
you can take out C.
Okay, we would not compete, right? We're on the same page.
Mhm. Uh,
Which is
uh,
true.
yeah.
So I'm taking out the things that are not true. Okay. So what is D?
I was looking at that, then the word capitalism at the end, I was like,
What does that mean? Anybody? Capitalist societies like ours, we out to make money and make money that's good for me. I will say you my grandmother if I want to, because I'm a capitalist. It's about making money.
okay, no, you could take that one out.
Okay. So now between A and B.
You could take out A.
Okay, so what's my answer?
B.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to do what's best for the group. Okay. So if you go to get your nails done at the Asian salon, you'll find that most of the people are cousins or somebody we brought over because we do what's best for everybody. In Indian families, right? In Asian families, it's very common for the male to never leave home. And when he gets married, he brings in then his wife and his family into his parents' home. They all live together. Americans, we ain't about that. We should be. Can you imagine? I mean, honestly, it would be much better if we could learn to take care of others. We just don't. We just don't. Rita, this is yours.
Which of the following accurately defines people first language? Ensuring that all public documents.
Say my question first. Do you know what it means?
People first language, like the mother language, the first language they spoke.
No.
Or they
Anybody
learned?
else? Nope. Anybody else?
I believe you said mother tongue.
That's not people first language.
No.
People, that's what she said. People first means I'm a person with schizophrenia. I am a person with. I'm a person first.
People first.
Okay. We refer to now as people of color. We're a person first. Then you add on what else? Okay. So now.
Ensuring that all public documents are appropriately translated into the first language of citizens, using proper names when speaking to others as a way of personalizing communication, naming the person before a diagnosis, disability, or condition so as not to define him or her by this trait. Referring to the verbal and nonverbal communication of American Indians, Native Americans, and the indigenous nations. It's not A. It's not D.
Okay, so these are the first people. Okay, so first people are what we used to call Native Americans. Now they're called first people. Okay.
So it's a C. The answer is C.
Okay. Got it. So I am a person with schizophrenia. I'm not a schizophrenic. That's person first language.
So I'm sorry, Dr. Pam, I got
Mhm.
that answer correct only after you said something. So you said, because you asked us if we knew what people first language was, right? And so you said, what you said something about the D referring to the verbal Native Americans were the first people.
Exactly. But
Okay.
that's
so
different
the
than
difference.
people first language.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. That's different. Makes sense?
A lot of sense, but that is very one like that could be definitely if you really have to read that question, because that's a really easy one to get wrong.
Absolutely. So that's a recall that you're just going to watch this video over and over again so you don't forget it. That's just knowing that's a recall question.
Okay, can you go back and remind me what you told you told me previously about tongue, the first because I'm getting
So I sometimes say your mother tongue, your first language. Okay. And many times, I was doing a question earlier, many times when we're answering questions, sometimes people, if Spanish is their first language, then they're not words in English that match up with the words that people would say in Spanish, but that's their first language, their mother tongue. Okay. That's the one that you learned from your mother, your home country. A lot of my clients that are islanders think they speak American English, and they don't. They speak British English, which is not the same thing as American idioms. And if American English is not your first language, it makes it tougher because it's American English, which is not the same as British English. Okay. If you keep your trunk, if you keep your tire in your boot, that is British English. That's the trunk of your car is called your boot. Okay, that's what that's called, but that's not what Americans would say.
It's not like people from New York call their cars whip.
That is just what was I going to say? Ebonics. But the question is taking it in cultural context. So I have to take language in cultural context, right? So clarification is when I go, so what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, I'm gonna give you one more, guys. I got to wrap you up here. All right. What's this one? You all look so confused. Okay. Shantariel, okay, go ahead, Rita. Go ahead.
I'm sick of this, and I don't want to be a repeat offender. I just don't. State legislators can be involved in decisions related to state legislators can be involved in decisions related to confidentiality, privilege, and what is this? Onomatopoeia.
What was that word?
Onomatopoeia.
Anonymity. Being anonymous.
I'm using my self-defense mechanisms at this point. Self-determination. So state legislators can be involved.
So who are my state legislators? What do?
They make decisions. They
make what kind of decisions? What does legislator mean?
Oh Lord, government.
Laws.
Yeah.
They make laws. Which one of these things is related to a law?
It's got to be D.
It does not. Is there a law that says we have to give people self-determination?
No.
That's a code of ethics. Which one of these is a legal term, a law?
So it's got to be C because it's not privilege.
Girl.
I know privilege and ethics.
It's a legal term.
It is.
Yeah, that's my idiom.
Okay.
That is. It's not making
Privilege. So confidentiality is what I say to the client. I say to you, what you say to me, I'll keep in confidence. But when I go to court in front of the judge, the law, I'm going to say, Your Honor, this is privileged information. That
But
is
just
a
the way it reads,
legal
state
term.
legislators can be involved in decisions related
Okay.
to.
Okay. So
This looks like a question that could be like D, all of the above or something.
It is not. It is so simple. Which one of these is a law? Okay. You have to remember, the test is not written for you. Okay. So you need to learn to speak like Jane Addams in order to pass this test, because it's not written for you. And the only one of these things that's what you can go to jail for, privilege. That's the only thing that's a law. State legislation think about laws. Remember Schoolhouse Rock? I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but we learned that. We learned that in school. You had a class on either social work in the law or social welfare in the law. You learned that in school.
Social policy, yeah.
Social policies. So that's what that means.
Wow.
Okay. I don't write the test. Don't be getting mad at me. I'm just teaching you terminology that will be on the test. Privilege is a legal term. Not all states have privilege. Not all states allow you to claim privilege. Some states, so your doctor has privilege, the priest has privilege, your lawyer has privilege, right? Things that you tell them in confidence, they can't go and tell a judge, Dr. Pam said. So that's the goal of the protecting you. Okay. However, not all states have privilege. Not all states say things you say your priest, he has to keep secret.
It just shows you how much of this test is about reading comprehension. Like,
really?
Yes.
Huh.
Because it's like, when you look at it, just looking at it in Russian, it just, like I said, it would be, if I was Russian, I've been like, where's the all the above?
Okay. So, and
then
I
when
would
you really
very rarely pick the all the above. I would very rarely pick that one. One of the things I'm always going to pick, if it says follow local and state guidelines, that's an always question, because that means that some states have different rules. Okay. So it's a reading test. So I always say, and especially if American, not English, if American English is not your mother tongue, you have to increase your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you're studying and there are terms that you don't know, Google it, just Google it and make a list. Just keep adding on.
Yeah. That's why I have a dictionary I bought, because I am I have English as a second language. So
girl, why you use dictionary? Ain't you got an iPhone?
Yes. But I'm trying to simulate because it's like I want to no, because I want to get in the habit, because I know when I take the test, I have a combination. I'm going to be using a dictionary. So that's why I do that.
Okay. So that you can only use the word-to-word dictionary. You know that?
The what?
The word-to-word dictionary.
Oh, no, I didn't. With the new PSI?
No, it's always been that way. You're only get to use word for word. So it's only about 200 words in there. It's a tiny, tiny dictionary. It's only word for word.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the rule. Now, if PSI, they should enforce it, because it's a word-to-word dictionary. So what's your native tongue?
Creole. I was told, they said, Pearson VUE was very strict. They provided dictionaries, but I heard PSI, they allow you to bring your own dictionary.
That shouldn't be the case unless did you get accommodations?
Yeah.
And they said, bring your own dictionary?
Yeah.
It's usually a word for word.
But they didn't specify like that, so I'm glad you're telling me that.
And they're usually very, very thin. So word for word just means they're going to give you like this little bitty word. I mean, it's a little bitty dictionary. So word to word means it's only going to give you the word to word translation. So let me show you. There's a term, the contraindicator.
I never knew that.
That's always been the case with most of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know you could get a Creole dictionary. I thought it, because that's usually not one of the recognized languages, isn't it? It's usually French.
Yeah.
I
Sometimes
mean,
they have.
I mean, I understand that, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone be able to use that.
Dorothy, what state are you in?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I always get a regular English dictionary. I didn't know.
So if they let you bring a regular English dictionary, that's fine. If that's what they say, then don't worry about it. Many
Okay.
states that will only allow you to bring a word for word, especially if it's your second language.
Oh.
So that means, so one of my clients is she's German. And it's only that one word to that one word.
Okay.
Okay. So, but if they've already said that they'll let you bring the dictionary, then go for it.
Okay.
Okay. So usually I just and Florida is one of the states that does allow and probably since there's a large Haitian population, that's a state that will probably let you use Creole.
Well, I learned a lot today.
I'm from Florida. So that's where I got my
Yeah.
LCSW. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'll be out of town next week. I'll be speaking at an event. I'll be coming back Sunday night. So one of my other coaches will be here. So have a wonderful weekend. I'm not sure what the topic is. I'll try to get this video up and last week's up tonight as well.
Thank you again, Dr. Pam.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.